Hello. Welcome to another episode of Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. I am here with not Deadpool.
Oh man, I wish I had a mask. It would have been way better. Next week, maybe next week.
The quick update, because we've been talking about it for a while. I think they're being delivered by pigeon or something.
You said they were already here.
All
You
the
said
way
they were
from
delivered.
Texas. The masks are here. Something is killing the children. Masks are here. We don't physically have them,
But they're here.
but they are here. They have been delivered. I had the tracking number. I gave Sonny an update yesterday. It is like, we're going to have it for the show. I said, no, they're going to show up when we get to the studio at the house. So the masks are here.
Eventually.
Yes. So we'll have those on next week. Maybe we'll wear them during the entire show.
I think so.
So let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff going on. There's been a lot of things happening the last few days.
A lot of news, a lot of stuff.
A lot of updates for us. Some things that have happened over the last couple of days. It's been fun. But DC has made this announcement. They're going to be doing a digital subscription service for their content.
Right.
Let's get into this a little bit about what exactly this entails.
Pros and cons versus, I mean, how could that work out for comic shops? How could that work out for readers? I mean, people who just want to get a little bit content at a time, or how much do you have to pay? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, first off, they're going to have a different option for you to where you can do a $7 or $8 a month type of fee.
Okay.
And you get access to, like, the catalog starts off, you're going to get 24,000, I think, something like that. It's a catalog of 24,000 books. And then any book that is released to print, I think it's beginning in the middle of January. In the middle of July, all of those books will be available.
Okay.
So here's my question. You know that I buy a lot of comic books. Robert buys a lot of comic books.
Yeah.
But I buy a lot of comic books. More so. Shout out to Rob.
Shout out to Rob. He's not in the studio today.
Yes, he's not in the studio today.
Shout out to
Rob. But how does this affect when the casual reader / comic book buyer is going to his or her LCS and purchasing books? How does this affect them?
Right. I think it changes the experience for sure. I mean, you can't pick up something and look at it, see if that's what you want, or even just meet people and talk about similar comics that you like. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it helps if you want something, you can order it. You know what I mean? We were talking about the other day, circumstances, if you can't get out of work at a certain time, or if you have a family function or something you miss a certain time, you can actually get what you want.
Like life.
Like life happens.
Life happens. Life comes up, and then all of a sudden it's like it's Wednesday. It's like your family doesn't care that New Comic Book Day is on Wednesday. I mean, they don't care about that. It's that hurts sometimes when they plan things for you to do life-wise.
For sure.
On a Wednesday, or you have to go out with coworkers and
it's still fun hanging out with your friends, but
no, it's fine. I'd rather have new comics on New Comic Book Day, but I mean,
I think the selection becomes bigger. You always think about what if you miss something, or what happens if you, I don't know. We were talking about getting backed up on a story like Ten of Swords, and you're like, what happened before this? I can't catch up super quick. Log in. I don't know how the menu
You just reminded me about something I got to write down, but keep going. I'm sorry.
I saw the smirk. You just have to log in. I don't know, like type in, okay, Ten of Swords, boom. Oh, okay, now I know what this guy was talking about. I think that would be the most ideal situation. I mean, even for me, I don't have a huge catalog. I do have, I have my knowledge or whatnot, but what if I need to go do some homework on something, or what if I do want to find out on something?
I think it helps it for that way, in that sense, because you can go back 6 months, and usually a lot of story arcs usually last anywhere between 2 and 6 issues anyway.
Right.
So you could go back 6 months and you could read and kind of get caught up on a character or a writer. That's one of the benefits of getting the trade paperbacks, is that they collect the 5 to 6 issues, and you can kind of check in and read that trade paperback. And then if it's not for you, you can hand it off to somebody else to check out. If maybe it's more something that they'd be interested in. Or you can opt in and say, okay, in another 6 months, I'm going to get the next trade, or another couple of months, I'll pick up the next trade, and then I'll keep it going that way. Sometimes books are read, like I think Something is Killing the Children is definitely one of those books that you'd like to read multiple issues
Shout out Boom Studios.
all in. Shout out, shout out Boom Studios. Um, it's one of those things that you would want to read all in one kind of uh, successive run.
For sure.
And there's other things that you pick up at, you read 2 or 3 issues and you're like, I'm really not feeling this and I'm over it.
I'm glad that I got to kind of breeze through it. And what if you didn't want to have to spend your money on that, or what if, like I said, I wonder what the catalog would be like, or I wonder what it would be like how far back it could search, or who you can look for if you can just I just want to read Flash today, or if I just want to
Right.
read Batman today, how far back can I read Batman?
I'm interested to see
Super cool.
once it gets started. Uh, they also going to offer. They're also talking about they're going to be offering some digital first content,
For sure.
and we've been talking about this since Fandom
Yeah, man.
that Milestone is going to be making a comeback,
For sure.
and Milestone, at least in the digital format, is going to be part of this DC subscription service when it starts back up in January.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to that.
They did a little bit of updated kind of backstory with Flash, a little bit of Icon, Rocket. I don't know about hardware so much, but it has a little bit more of like kind of what's going on. They're like at a march and something happens,
Uh-huh.
and it's very dated. It's not dated, I guess. What's the word? It's updated.
Hmm.
Um, it's really really good. It's really really good. I'm excited. Like you said, it's something that you could only find on that, so it makes it more of an incentive to kind of go in, and I don't know how much it's going to be, but I might be checking that out.
Yeah, Marvel had something similar. They've had something similar as far as the digital comics, but I don't know how they were keeping up with.
It's
It's
probably
something that
so
has to
much.
do with Disney. It's like Marvel Unlimited or something like that.
Right.
And they had something similar to it where you had a monthly fee or something like that, and it was like $1 or $2 cheaper than what DC is charging right now.
How
But
much are they charging?
it was like $6 or something like that. But they didn't have the updated catalog, and I don't think the library as far as the books is as large.
Yeah, that's the game changer. I think for me, that's kind of like if you talk about an app or like Hulu or Netflix or something, you want something to. Actually, I just got my mom on Netflix, and she's like, "Oh my God, there's so many shows." I'm like, "I've ran through everything, but I'm glad you found these." You know what I
Your
mean?
mom didn't have Netflix during the shutdown.
No,
You wouldn't have seen her.
no, she's found all these shows. It's really cool. She's like on Mindhunter and all the really cool
Oh
kind of
yeah.
crime shows and stuff. It's really cool. But just talking about a huge catalog. Like you want something so I could sign on, I could look, I could go back for hours and hours and hours on whatever search, whatever kind of hole I get wrapped into.
I'm really interested to see how this thing starts off, and what kind of content we're going to have access to, how many books we're going to have access to. I mean, I just see myself reading a lot of stuff.
I think we've talked really highly about it, but we haven't said how much what are the cons about it. I think the main thing, it's going to put a lot of people out of business.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the sad case, with the times of being, people have to do the social distancing and they want to enforce that, and uh, it might shut some people down.
Yeah, because comic books are always going to go up in price, and your price point is always going to go up just because
Right,
um, the shipping costs,
for
all
sure.
this other thing. Remember, DC, when the shutdown happened, DC switched over to Lunar. every every comic book publisher was using Diamond Distribution,
Okay.
and DC broke away from that. They started using Lunar. Well, one of the problems with Lunar is that they aren't as reliable because they don't have the experience of doing this shipping, this volume
Right, because
that Diamond
it's
has.
crazy. I mean, it's just the level of what's getting put out.
And it's been an issue. I can tell you from just going to different LCSs around town. There's weeks, guys,
It's a
where I
drought.
go to 4 or 5 different comic book stores,
Right. You gotta check out what's going on out
and
there.
they'll have a different story about some shipping issue,
Someone had bump in the road, and someone a giraffe and this.
or all the Venoms that a store gets all have a crease in the corner. You know how sad that is for me to say that? I mean, that just bums me out, and it bums the fans under order or over ordering and
For
not
sure.
getting their product. It's
It sucks.
it's it's brutal, and
It
it's something
sucks.
that the comic book shops have to compete with on top of all the additional costs just to keep the lights on.
Right. And especially with everything going on right now, I'm sure it's not easy.
No, and I don't know what this is going to do long term, but I think that there are enough comic book buyers and comic book fans that want to go to brick and mortar stores, that
Yeah,
do want to go on the hunt, and that do want to have the physical book
I agree.
in their hand. And I think hopefully that's what we're going to get, is more people wanting to seek that out, because you can't get
That
a,
sucks.
a picture on your computer graded. They have that flipping the books and selling the stuff on eBay, those guys
Right,
that are all the speculators out there in the world,
right.
you know. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that.
It's gonna be a change.
It is
It's
big
followed
time.
with everything kind of going on, man.
It's the industry has changed since COVID, and it's going to continue to change
Yeah,
and
this is.
evolve.
I think this is gonna be the normal. I think
Yeah,
more people are gonna, like we were talking about, streaming services picking up movies. That might be the new wave. You know,
it might be.
you might have to. I mean, Tenet did pretty well. It
Yeah,
didn't do.
didn't do what they thought it was going to.
No, not at all.
No.
But I think it might be the transition.
Yeah, it's very possible. Uh, we kind of got some news about. Okay, I want to kind of set the stage for this. About 10 about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when they started to do all of this setup, groundwork, outline for what they were going to do with the MCU,
Hmm.
okay, and they got Robert Downey Jr. involved, there was a rumor of another actor who was going to be taking on the mantle of Tony Stark.
It's going all over the internet now.
And now it's come full circle that in some capacity, we know that this Doctor Strange movie is
I'm
going to
excited.
involve multiverse,
I'm so excited.
that we know that there's going to be other actors involved. We think there's going to be a lot of
I
characters.
think it's going to be a huge movie,
It is.
like way bigger than what we think.
So Mr. Mission Impossible himself,
Woo.
Tom Cruise,
As
will
Iron Man?
will be playing Iron Man, is what we've been told. That's the rumor right now, that he'll be putting on the suit
That'd be cool.
and he'll be playing a different universe
Like an
version,
alternate version of
alternate
Tony
version
Stark.
of Tony Stark. But that's
What?
not all,
No, not at all.
because a few years ago, when Chris Evans was first cast to play Captain America, the first Avenger,
There was a whole nother story.
there was a whole nother story of this particular actor, who at the time was a television actor,
Yeah.
who was going to be rumored to be playing Captain America, actually read and auditioned for the role.
I believe he even put on the suit
I think he did.
and saw homie and was like, "Nah, I'm good. You
It's
you
like,
got
that's
this.
him.
That's
You
him."
can't. It's like he thought that
He was
Chris
like,
Evans was the
"This is-"
better
Yeah, he was like, "You got this, man."
Steve Rogers. Yeah,
Who was it?
John Krasinski,
Yeah.
Mr. Jim Halpert. A lot of people have been saying for a long time that John Krasinski was involved in the MCU and had been talking the MCU.
In the background, in
Yes.
the shadows.
But everybody had thought that he was going to be playing a different role. They thought he was going to be playing Dr. Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four. Emily Blunt was going to play Sue Storm.
I still hope for that. You know what I mean?
I think that would be cool.
the fan art, it's perfect, and they already have the chemistry. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But
I
I
would
think
hope.
the issue, though, is John Krasinski is involved in so many other things. He's got the Jack Ryan series. He has producer and director things that he's involved in, other projects.
Quiet Place 2.
Quiet Place 2, whenever that
coming
comes out. It's supposed to come out in March, but it's
Yeah,
been pushed
delayed.
back, just like everything else. And it sounds like now the rumor is that Reed Richards could be either Adam Scott,
Interesting.
Mr. Ben Wyatt from Parks and Rec,
Right.
or Jason Bateman.
Yeah, you said that one first, and I was like, oh,
I think
that's
he would be a
interesting.
really interesting Reed Richards.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
We got Timothy. What's his last name? Chimley.
Timothy Chalamet, yeah.
Chimley.
Yeah.
He wanted to be Peter Parker originally, and even called his agent and wanted to recast because he didn't get it originally.
Mhm.
Wouldn't that
He'd
be
be
cool?
he'd be good.
Like a young Peter Parker, you
He'd
know?
be really
Got
good.
some kind of style. It'd be an alternate version, you know?
Again, if they're doing a multiverse thing,
There's a lot.
and there's cameos, that's not a lot of commitment as an actor for shooting.
No.
You're talking about a few days as
Pop up.
opposed to months of shooting.
Like 9 months to shoot a Marvel movie, you know what I mean? Like a full-blown actual Marvel movie. It takes probably
And I
years.
think too, Sonny, and then we hadn't talked about this. But I think how they've ended the Marvel movies with these big grand scale of having all of these people featured in these movies.
Mm.
I think this multiverse movie is going to feature a bunch of people, and then it's all going to be spread out, and the movies are going to be a little smaller scaled because they're trying to introduce all of these new characters before they bring them again for the Avengers film, or
Whatever the
potentially Young
next,
Avengers or New
yeah,
Avengers or whatever they're going to do.
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars potentially. So um, there's a lot going on with that, and now because everything's been delayed, we don't know what's going to happen.
I think it would be cool if we could get some feedback on who you would think would be a cool Iron Man or a cool Hulk or
A different Thor.
a good different Thor. I mean, he's the man.
He is.
Certain people were made for certain characters. Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds.
There's nobody else you think of
No.
now playing Deadpool than
Except for
Ryan
me.
Reynolds. Well, obviously, I was going to say except for
Except
Sonny.
for me.
After Sonny, I would say Ryan Reynolds, and then no one else after that.
Even for me, Netflix, The Punisher,
Yeah, I don't want to see anybody
John
else.
Bernthal,
John Bernthal, yeah.
so good.
I don't want to see anybody else play him.
No, I even liked the Daredevil.
Charlie Cox was great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
They nailed it with the castings of those Netflix shows.
I think that would be interesting too. Is who would you like to see put into a Marvel movie from the Netflix adaptations? I think for sure, like we said, Punisher and Daredevil would fit perfectly. Do we want Luke Cage? Do we even care about the Iron Fist? He should get recasted.
I think they're probably going to recast.
They should recast
Iron
him and
Fist.
redo the whole thing. It was very cheesy.
It was.
It was very cheesy.
But Mike Coulter was a really good Luke Cage.
He was. I really
Was
liked
a
him.
really good.
I'm
Luke
watching
Cage.
that right now. Actually,
Yeah.
he was really, really good, and the soundtrack was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if we could get some feedback, yeah, tell us, even Rob, tell us what you think or who you would think would be a cool, different adaptation of a Marvel character, an Avengers team up, or who. Just let me know.
Maybe the Marvel people are already thinking about this.
Oh, I think it's gonna happen.
They're brainstorming having like 5 or 6 of the main characters that we're thinking about, or 4 or 5 other guys besides these 2
For sure.
that could be recast, that we could see have another whole Avengers lineup.
I think it would be cool.
Make an appearance in this film.
And it would be like really Hollywood, and like have like
Yeah.
a super cheesy like team up of like
Make them look like they looked like in their first Avengers film.
Correct. It
Yeah.
would be really, really cool like that.
That would be neat.
They got money to do this now,
They do.
They really do.
They've got
They have tons of
they got Disney dollars. As soon as Disneyland opens up, it's going to be $200 a person anyway.
Yeah,
They've
for
got
sure.
to cover some of the costs they've been losing. It's like $250 for kids to go. An ice cream cone is like $47. It's like something
I
ridiculous.
haven't been to Disneyland in so long, and I know even like before, there's different tiers of parking. So like it's like the $45 parking, and then there's like the $80 parking, and then like the closer you get, so you don't have to walk or take that tram to the actual park.
Okay, I just got to tell you something real quick. Total transparency, okay?
Go
We
ahead.
could call this segment Parent Corner right now, okay? When my son was 6 years old, we took him to Disneyland.
Okay.
Okay. The following summer, my father and his wife took him to Orlando, and they took him to all the Disney stuff. And my son came back and he says, I don't ever want to do any of that stuff again. Okay. He's like 7 years old. He has saved me thousands of dollars because I've never
'Cause-
been back to Disneyland,
never had to do it.
SeaWorld, any of those things. Never gone back to any of those
And
things.
I know him. He's probably like, nah, this is corny. I don't want it, man.
He's too cool for school. He looks like Tarzan. We could cast him in the live action Tarzan film.
MCU Tarzan.
They could do
That would
the-
be so awesome.
They cross the Tarzan in the multiverse. I don't know.
It would work.
Speaking of the multiverse, we know that it is a Doctor Strange driven sequel, but
Yes.
we know that another character is going to be playing a big role
Huge role.
in this. It's the Scarlet Witch,
Yes, it
Wanda
is.
Maximoff.
For sure.
And this past weekend, I think it was on Sunday night, it was during the Emmys.
Yeah.
They released the first trailer for WandaVision. And I still don't know what to think, and I've watched it about 6 or 7 times.
Me too.
And
Me too.
we're going to watch it right now all together
I think we should.
and
As
try
we've
to
been doing.
interpret our dreams.
What we've
We're
been
gonna
seeing.
We're going to bring in a therapist afterwards and talk about
In the
what
snack cave.
exactly we're watching.
Let's do it.
This is the WandaVision trailer. It's a little kooky.
It is a little kooky.
It was cool.
There's some stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
Heavenly shades of night are calling. It's twilight time.
Wanda and Vision, aren't we a five-pair?
This is our home now. I want us to fit in.
Oh, this is gonna be a gas!
Where did you two move from? How long have you been married? And why don't you have children yet?
Our story.
I think what my wife means to say is that we moved from...
Moved from where? Married when? Damn it, why?
It's the glitch.
Oh, Arthur, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Deep in the dark, your kiss will thrill
This is really happening.
like days of old, lighting the spark of love that fills me.
She's so sketch.
Am I dead?
No. Why would you think that?
Because you are.
Each day I pray for evening just to be.
We are an unusual couple, you know.
Oh, I don't think that was ever in question.
Exclusively on Disney Plus.
I was waiting for you to say that. It's Disney Plus from now on. You have to keep it.
So there was a podcast I listened to. I think it was on The Ringer or something like that, like 6 months before Disney Plus came out,
Okay.
and they just wanted to call it Plus because in Spanish-speaking countries they don't say plus, they say plus. Everything is plus.
Plus.
So you say something plus, and it sounds so goofy and so cute for someone to say something so serious and then
Right.
say plus.
Well, especially
It's-
Disney too. Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. So I always call it plus.
Exclusively on Disney Plus.
Correct.
What do you think, man? I think they were playing a different. Was it the tune? Was it Only You by the Platters? I think it was. I tried to get all the.
It's a Twilight Time.
Oh,
I
it was
think the song- I
Twilight.
think
Time.
the
Oh, that
song's
was
called
Twilight Time. It was
Time.
the other. It's the other trailer that
Yeah.
I was looking at. It's interesting how they're gonna do all these different times, and she's gonna warp. Whatever the 60s to the 70s to the 80s, and all their outfit changes, and the Halloween little cameo. Awesome.
Well, for the different, we know that there had been time travel that was mentioned and kind of shown time being manipulated
For sure.
in the films, in the last couple of films especially.
Yeah, for sure.
But that Wanda is very powerful as far as the Marvel universe is concerned.
Oh yeah.
She's incredibly powerful.
For sure.
And I think that this is a way of her establishing herself in mutant type of related things, not only
Yeah.
the magic side of it, but we know that mutant things are coming
Oh, I mean,
eventually.
two little mutant things are coming in that
That's
show.
right.
For sure.
And there's a very quick Easter egg to it when she's pouring the wine,
yeah.
and it says Maison, and there's a big M. Maison in French is house. House of M.
Maison du Prix.
It's going to be really cool to see what happens with this series.
I'm so excited.
Vision, I really do think that he's dead
I
and
think
that she is fantasizing.
I think she's fantasizing the whole thing. That's why he has the stone. I think she doesn't want to remember him as a cold, different color with the stone ripped from his forehead. She wants to remember him as she loved him. You know what I mean? Although it is a strange couple. She's in love with an android, but it's going to be interesting to see Agatha's play. I think here I go with my mind keeps going.
It's okay, yeah.
What if she's not the main person behind it all? And
I don't
like,
think she is.
there's always some kind of puppeteer from
Yeah.
the puppet master. You know what I mean? Someone, Mephisto.
Yeah, I like that. And I mean, we know that this series is going to be going right into
Doctor Strange.
the Doctor Strange. Um,
Multiverse of Madness. I think he's gonna have some type of play in that. I think, uh, I don't know, going into thinking about who and what, or like the overlord of hell or whatever entity it could be, like, talking about like Trigon, or,
Right.
there's just so many different tiers to who it could be. I think the play on all of this is going to be really good.
And then we're going to be getting something otherworldly that we have, like the next incarnation of whatever Shield turns into. Now we
Sword.
have Sword.
Mm-hmm.
That it seems that that's what we have. Sword agents, Monica
Monica
Rambeau,
Rambeau.
all grown up.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if she is Captain Marvel in this iteration, or if she's going to be she's turning into Photon.
Maybe not. We
Or-
might get a little, like, some kind of hint to it, or that's the road she's trying to become, because she's definitely in. It has like sword agents and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely a thing.
I'm excited for this.
It's gonna take so long for it to come out.
Yeah, I mean, and they have said that it's going to be out in 2020.
Yeah, they've said that, but everything keeps getting pushed back.
But what that means is, because I think they've finished shooting this.
Yeah.
What that means is that it's going to be after Mandalorian. They're not going to have both shows going on at the same time.
Can't.
So that would put it at like Christmas, or maybe the week before Christmas. So we could get one, maybe two
That makes sense.
episodes. It's going to be a 6 or 8 episode season.
I thought it was a little bit longer. I thought it
I
was
hope it
maybe
is.
8 or 9 episodes.
I'm okay with that.
I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to come out after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So
That's right. They flip-flopped. Winter Soldier is supposed to come out. Falcon and Winter Soldier is supposed to come out in October or November or whatever.
I think that they're trying to hide someone
I do too.
in that show. There's no reason why. I think I don't know. I think we're not so stoked on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm way more stoked on WandaVision. But there's got to be something in that show that they're trying to hide, that they want to, I don't know, like blow up super huge before they get all the attention for WandaVision.
And they didn't want to put any type of trailer together
No.
before you start watching WandaVision.
It's somebody.
They don't want to show you any trailers for any other Marvel films until after you've seen Black Widow, which now we know is going to be a while. It's been officially delayed
It's delayed
until
again.
May of 2021. Black Widow has been delayed. We know that now we're going to be getting 4 Marvel films. This will be the first year since 2009.
That there hasn't been a Marvel movie released.
Yep.
That's insane.
It's crazy.
We're talking about the ball drop. It's like my mom told me. She's like, the first time in 100 or something years that they're not doing the ball in New York. And it's weird, man, the times.
So we wouldn't be getting any new Marvel anything if it wasn't for the WandaVision show coming out at the end of the year. Whether we're getting 1 or 2 episodes,
It's supposed to roll into connect everything. That's what I was under the impression.
I'm excited to see it. I'm actually more excited to see WandaVision than I am to see Black Widow.
Definitely.
And
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know where that puts the Black Widow. I wasn't super
not too stoked
excited about it. I mean, I'm gonna see it, but spoiler, we already know what's gonna happen with Black Widow. We've already known what's happened with Black Widow, unless there's some major twist that we don't know about.
And you know what? They could be doing that.
Sure, they could. That's true.
They could be doing that, and they could be kind of steering us in a completely different direction.
No,
what
you're
if
right.
Taskmaster is a different version of Black Widow in a different alternate universe? I don't know. And like she's trying to, or I don't, you know what I mean? Like they have the power to do that.
They do.
And I think maybe that's why they don't want to release it on Disney Plus, because they were like, oh, we spent a lot of money.
I got you on the Plus, man. I got you on the Plus. I got you hooked on the Plus.
They don't want to release it because they're like, all right, we spent a lot of money on this. This is something that's going to be huge. What if, what if it's something big? Be interesting. I don't think
but I don't know if that was the original plan, because they had planned to release the movie in May of last year,
right?
And then Earth was closed,
right?
And then we were able to do it. It'd be right back. Earth is closed. Flip the sign over. Earth's closed. Come back later. And then everything just kind of flipped over on its head.
Right.
So we don't know. And as far as the Falcon the Winter Soldier goes, we think that we're going to be getting some U.S. agent.
Yeah,
We think we're going to get either
I like the
like
actor
Baron Zemo.
for sure.
We're going to be getting
He's gonna be
that
a
in
bad
some
guy.
capacity. So there's going to be a lot to that. And also we're going to be getting Falcon not necessarily ready to accept the mantle
Mm-hmm.
of Cap yet.
Nah, he's definitely not ready.
So
I'm excited to see when he gets the shield and he throws it and he aims at the tree and it kind of like gets stuck in the tree. I'm excited to see what he does with it. Does he still, have his wings? Is he still, like what's his suit gonna look like?
well, we know U.S. agent carries a gun. I
It's
think he has a shield.
crazy. It's like
he
a
has a shield and a
gun.
gun.
Yeah.
Because he can't be armed enough. With that, I guess. We're speaking about the streaming series, and obviously with the Plus, we've got Mandalorian coming out next month.
Yeah.
We have the WandaVision series coming at the end of the year sometime.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hellstrom.
Amazon. Oh, you want to talk about Hellstrom?
I was just saying that it's during Halloween. I think October is when we get a bunch of releases of stuff.
It's October 16th is Hellstrom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a huge kind of thing. I think for all like the horror fans and all that kind of stuff, it's gonna be really dark. It's on Hulu because it was the last deal cut between when Kevin Feige was in charge of something and he didn't like I forget. It was a huge thing and it's the last show that's going to be different. But it's very dark. It's super dark. Have you heard of it?
I watched the trailer just a few minutes before we started the show today, and I liked what I saw.
Because I know you don't like.
I'm not a big horror dude. I think Hellstrom is going to be what they were hoping New Mutants would have been.
Yeah.
Something dark that people would have been like, "Whoa, cool!" Like
it's
like
different
because New Mutants didn't scare anyone.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I think he's the devil's son. He has a sister. It's not Zatanna. It's like Satana or something like that.
Mhm.
She kind of has some kind of divine power, just like him. It's gonna be like a X-Filesy kind of vibe where they go and like, all right, this person was possessed by this demon and they have to do whatever. You know what I mean? But the mom is possessed by some very strong demon or some kind of crazy entity.
It looks crazy.
It looks really cool. So I'm, me, I like the kind of a little bit more out there stuff, and I'm all about it. I'm super all about it.
I'm with it. I'm gonna try it. I still have to watch Lovecraft Country.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude.
I gotta still sit down and watch that.
You got I think 5 episodes that you could sit down and just kind of go through.
I'll be caught up with watching the finale. Maybe we'll watch the finale together.
The last one was had a bunch of subtitles, and he was back. The main protagonist, he was back in Vietnam, and it shows his prior war days. And there was like a nine-tailed fox spirit haunting something. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna kind of go into too much. It's really really good. It's definitely dark. It's definitely you got to put it on HBO or something because it's something you can't watch with the fam, but it's really good. I really
We have
like
all
it.
these shows that we can't watch with people.
You can't. The Boys.
The Boys. Speaking of The Boys, we're not going to spoil anything this week for
No.
The Boys. We're going to give everybody opportunity to get caught up, and we're going to talk a little bit about The Boys next week
Next
after
one.
we've seen the 6th episode.
Next one over.
After that, we'll have only 2 episodes left after tomorrow.
I'm
or
excited to see kind
tonight.
of how it's going to actually end.
But they Amazon announced, I think it was this morning, that they are in development of a spin-off series or something that's going to be within that universe
Continuity.
about a group of college students.
Mhm.
It's a college that is run by Vought International. Everybody knows that Vought is the
Evil.
parent company that put together the 7.
For sure.
So whether or not there's going to be younger versions of these characters, is it going to be going on at the same time? Is it going to be going on
I think
in the
so.
future? I mean, I'm excited to see what it's about. And I mean, you see how messed up the show is.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean,
it could be like what if it's like I don't know, like the private school or whatever, like the experiment school that they have the young kids that have superpowers or whatever,
it
and
could be
that's
crazy.
and that's the school that they have to go to because they can't be in the public school. You know what I mean? And they can have all these different kind of powers, and we're gonna get all these kind of. I'm excited for that. It's gotta
Okay,
be adult.
so you watch Lord of the Rings.
For sure.
Okay, so then after you
For
watch
sure.
the Lord of the Rings films, and then you see like Game of Thrones, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like, whoa, this is like, oh my goodness,
Crazy.
right? You see regular superhero television shows or movies,
Right.
and then you watch The Boys.
It's very different.
Yes.
It's not I mean, Daredevil was even kind of dark-ish,
pushing it, yeah.
but it wasn't like that.
And I think that that's going to be on that same tone.
I think the cool part about The Boys, it was so easy to sell that we've gotten so many of our friends
Right.
and so many people watching just to talk about it or even just to get watching it. It's amazing. I really love the show. I've said it a bunch of times. It's my favorite show right now. I'm so glad it comes on after we leave here. It's the coolest thing. It's probably on right now.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's great, and I'm really interested to see what they do with this. It won't be written by Garth Ennis. We know that he's going to have some type of probably input or influence
He definitely
as
will.
far as a script treatment, but there's been no comic written about this. The only spinoff they did was the Dear Becky miniseries. As far as The Boys are concerned, that's the only thing that they did with that miniseries, and it's really not that great. But it's something that is with that Boys universe, like continuity.
Right.
I mean, The Boys is crazy. You think the show is crazy, the comic is crazy.
Comic's crazy, and I think we were even talking about it earlier. They're not totally following the comic because Black Noir kind of is a little sketchy. Stormfront is completely different. So I mean, they definitely have little hints at certain things that go on in the comics, but I think they're gonna take it a different route. I think it would be cool if they take it a different route for people like me and you that already know what's kind of gonna be at the end of this season or maybe at the end of next season. What if they flip it around and it's something completely different?
I'm interested to see how this season ends up.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to find like starting and stopping points when you've read, or like I've told everybody I haven't read The Boys. I was caught up on it by people that read. A guy that read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then he had like Tourette's or like a little fit, and he just like threw it all at me.
You told me, yeah.
Yeah, like a 3-hour recap,
right?
About everything that happened in it, and I was like, oh, I felt like I read that just now, but
right.
I wanted to go back and read it to get context as far as where the show is starting and stopping for this season,
right?
Because they can get 4 or 5 seasons easily.
Easy, they're already on 3.
Yeah,
they already have the third one.
They've started production for the 3rd season.
It's easy. It's an easy sell, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't even know because I was like, oh, I had the Amazon Prime for so long, and then I'm like, all right, is there actually good shows on this? And I started that. I started Homecoming. There's a couple good movies.
Homecoming's good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really interesting. You've got to sit down and actually pay attention because I kind of missed a little bit of it.
Oh, it's crazy.
And I got to go back, and I'm like, oh, okay.
So we're talking about projects and adaptations and stuff that's been, optioned and whatever else. Something pretty big in comics started this past week, and it's been something that's been hyped and discussed for a while. We want to make sure we say it the right way because we kept saying it wrong every time we talk about it.
Don't say it wrong.
10 of Swords.
Yeah, you got it.
10 of Swords started officially yesterday, and I found out some information about the 10 of Swords to give you a little background context.
Okay, please.
When they were mapping all this stuff out was during COVID. Okay. So originally the 10 of Swords was going to be 10 parts. Okay.
Now it's 21.
It's 22. 22 parts. They've elaborated more on the story, giving you all this background context. And I would never say this normally about a comic book after reading one part of 22, but I trust Jonathan Hickman and I trust what he does and what he writes.
Dude.
And you're talking about the list of what we want to put on a list of stuff you want to go back and read collected versions of with The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Do yourself a favor and get the collected edition of
100.
Hickman's New Avengers run. If you want to get that, you want to read something that Hickman did that was incredible, go back and get his New Avengers run, okay? Because now they've turned him loose on X-Men, and there's references to the New Avengers stuff, really mild references, but there's references in this.
It's there.
They give you the background context for this first part, and I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I want to reread the first one.
And that's the cool part of stories like that. You know what I mean? If something comes out like super left field. We were talking about Rob. He's like, "What's going on? I have to go check this out." Now he's like, "What?" You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because it's the coolest thing when you bring in something that is a whirlwind on something that we're familiar with. I know there's a ton of X-Men. I know they have to go fight this and do that. But what happens if there was the preordained mutants, and what if they need what we have, and what if, you know what I mean? It goes so deep.
It's with your their
It's the
ancestral
ancestral mutants. You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous, man. It is so good. Hickman is such a good storyteller. The way he brings this together,
It's great.
I can't wait to read more of them. I mean, it's awesome.
I think the cool thing about the Ten of Swords is it's a different sword that they're referencing throughout all the different timelines. The what was the blade that Wolverine had? I don't want to mispronounce it. I don't want to mispronounce it. I don't want to butcher it. But
I gotta look it up.
I think how they reference it, that every sword has a purpose, and they have to have this like crazy duel at the end with these swords, and who gets to wield them, and that's what's gonna keep me going back.
The Muramasa.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Marmush. I don't know. Muramasa.
Muramasa blade. Yeah.
Muramasa blade.
Yeah.
I always remember thinking, what if there was something that can cut through Wolverine's adamantium, and like,
Dude.
and then he's the one wielding it, like he has to protect it.
And that
you know?
character is going to be around.
Oh, for
after
sure.
that. Yeah, they're gonna. A lot of these guys are going to be sticking around after this.
I'm excited. They have
yeah,
a lot to do with it.
It's super dope. I can't wait to like get all these together and just probably like reread them after everything is done. Hickman has been ridiculous. If you have the chance to check out his Dawn of X, when he restarted basically the whole X-Men universe when Marvel gave him the okay.
Right.
It's Powers of 10 and House of X.
Right.
It gives you all the background context. There's a lot of stuff leading into this. And what I was going to write, like I wrote my little note to myself. If you read the last issue of X-Men, which is like 11 or 12 that came out last week, it goes right into this first part.
Sick.
As far as the story is like, and that's what he's really good at doing.
So good at doing that. There's so many of those.
Off, you're going right back into the next part right after it's great. And this is going to be crossing over into all the mutant titles because it essentially affects all of them.
It does.
So I can't wait. I'm really enjoying this.
I think that's something that it gives us a little something to kind of look forward to, because we're going to be talking about that for a little bit. We're going to be looking forward to that for a little bit. I think my most thing, I love swords and stuff. I'm excited to find out who's wielding these swords. Like, who gets each sword, you know what I mean? And what purpose does these swords
Who's going to
have?
end up with them?
You know?
We don't know.
So that's exciting.
It's really exciting. We're continuing with this stuff we've been kind of checking out and reading lately. This death metal series has been continuing.
Yeah.
We had the speed metal. Is that what it's speed metal?
Speed metal, you got it.
Yeah, speed metal.
I was going to say flash metal, and
No,
it's not flash metal.
It's not flash metal. Flash just ended. Quick little shout out.
Yeah.
Joshua Williamson. There were multiple writers when DC did their rebirth back in 2016. There's multiple writers for Batman, multiple writers for Wonder Woman,
A lot.
multiple writers for Superman and Action Comics, Aquaman.
Mhm.
Okay. There's been one guy writing Flash, and he just finished his 101st issue.
That's so cool.
Came out yesterday. He was a great storyteller. You could tell that he really loved the character.
Cares
And
so much.
loves the whole Flash family.
Yeah.
The last issue he titled Finish Line.
That's the coolest way to finish it.
So I thought he did a really good job. So just shout out to Joshua Williamson. I mean, I thought he did a great job on Flash, and really enjoyed reading it. I kind of wanted to tease it, but I'm not really sure. The guy's gonna be taking over. I want to see what's next.
Okay.
Where he's going to take it, because he's got like a background as like a TV writer or something like that. I want to know.
Oh,
what
that's
happens
what you were
with it.
talking about.
Yeah.
You're like,
I'm interested to see
Okay.
what happens.
Okay.
So, what's some stuff that you're looking forward to reading, or what have you been reading right now that you're enjoying?
Well, Boom Studios just talked about doing their 4th print on We Only Find Them When They're Dead.
Yeah.
They're all these long names.
Yep.
I think that has my all attention right now. I'm so stoked on that.
To go to a fourth printing, I mean, you're talking about one of these slightly smaller publishers compared to a DC or a Marvel. They could have some of their main titles in like the 100,000s as far as like printing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a book going to a second, third, and fourth printing means that books are under ordered or the demand is so high that they don't know how to keep up with. So they've done a fourth printing for this book.
Yeah, I'm going with the demand, man, because it's hot. It's hot.
It's a really good story,
Good
but
story.
everything that Boom Studios has been doing,
Gold.
everybody's been all over it.
Touch it as gold. It's fire, dude. The artwork, the storytelling, every single time you change the cover and it has
It's
the
awesome.
title. That's my favorite thing, and it's like that little signature that they put on. You know, that's like, this is us. We're putting a stand here. You know,
Putting the boom on it.
boom on it.
And next week, they've got the new Tinian project,
Sick.
Department of Truth,
I'm
comes
excited
out
for this
next
one.
week, where Frank will spend a lot more money on all those covers because
The artwork is so good.
Yes, because I am a moron and I will spend a lot of money on those. I mean, investor. I mean, comic book investor.
Comic book investor, sir.
Yes,
Get it correct.
that's what I meant to say. I'm really excited to see what happens with that. I think Tinian has probably been my favorite writer this whole year.
Yeah.
Rob is probably saying that right now as he's watching the video. And I said, favorite writer. It's his favorite writer as well. Sonny, as always, it's good to see you. It's good to do this with you.
I love you, man. It's always a pleasure. I think that we started this as a little something, and we actually got something going on. It started from us just talking about it, and now we actually moved forward. We got something going. It feels legit. Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. It's been fun.
Thanks, guys. Again, we'll see you next week.
Guys, for Sonny, I'm Frank. We're excited. We'll see you soon. Go read some comic books.
And wash your damn hands.